Experiencing trauma is an essential part of being human. History is written in blood. Although art and literature have always been preoccupied with how people cope with the inevitable tragedies of life, the large-scale scientific study of the effects of trauma on body and mind has had to wait till the latter part of this century, when the average life expectancy in the industrialized world is well above the biblical 70, when almost all children can be expected to outlive their parents, and when famine and epidemics no longer wipe out large sections of the population with the regularity that they once did. Humans owe their ascendance in the animal kingdom to their extraordinary capacity to adapt. Throughout evolution, humans have been exposed to terrible events, yet most people who are exposed to dreadful experiences survive without developing psychiatric disorders. Throughout history, some people have adapted to terrible life events with flexibility and creativity, while others have become fixated on the trauma and gone on to lead traumatized and traumatizing existences. Societies that have been massively traumatized have followed roughly similar patterns of adaptation and disintegration. Many survivors seem to be able to transcend their trauma temporarily and harness their pain in acts of sublimated creation. For example, the writers and Holocaust survivors Jerzy Kosinski and Primo Levi seem to have done this, only to succumb to the despair of their memories in the end. Despite the human capacity to survive and adapt, traumatic experiences can alter people's psychological, biological, and social equilibrium to such a degree that the memory of one particular event comes to taint all other experiences, spoiling appreciation of the present. This tyranny of the past interferes with the ability to pay attention to both new and familiar situations. When people come to concentrate selectively on reminders of their past, life tends to become colorless and contemporary experience ceases to be a teacher. In much of the remainder of this book, we discuss what makes people vulnerable to developing such a fixation on trauma and what can help them overcome it. The systematic study of trauma. Since psychiatry has started to organize psychological problems in a diagnostic system that is based purely on their surface manifestations, it has, as a profession, increasingly lost interest in the workings of the mind and the mystery of medicine. Paradoxically, this has meant that the study of trauma has become the soul of psychiatry. The development of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, as a diagnosis has created an organized framework for understanding how people's biology, conceptions of the world, and personalities are inextricably intertwined and shaped by experience. The PTSD diagnosis has reintroduced the notion that many neurotic symptoms are not the results of some mysterious, well-nigh inexplicable, genetically based irrationality, but of people's inability to come to terms with real experiences that have overwhelmed their capacity to cope.